G'day everyone and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. Ethan here to preview our round 6 clash against St Kilda on Sunday afternoon at Marvel Stadium. I don't think earlier on the year, especially in pre-season, we were going to be talking about this game being first versus fourth, but here we are with the Saints, who've been playing some great football the first 5 weeks and just going down by a goal against Collingwood after a late charge where they almost drew the game, but they've been playing some good footy and they deserve to be up top over later. And we still sit luckily in fourth position, unfortunately, with a pretty bad percentage of around 96. So that's disappointing, but it should be. I think it's a sellout at Marvel Stadium. I think I guess it's a big week of footy with the Anzac Eve and also the Anzac Day game kind of overshadowing all the other games. So I think that might work well for us. Might be a bit of a blessing in disguise for us, kind of not focusing on our game so much, because I think it's going to be a pretty high standard game and it's going to be real tough for us to win this game. But I think we can do it. I'll just start off with the injury update. Obviously, after the Adelaide game, there was news that Adam Sard had some problems with his hamstring, and that's led to him. He's going to miss this clash against the Saints, which is very, very unfortunate, but definitely opens up a spot for someone who I will touch on later. And also Gov, I'll touch on later, but Gov had a bit of a calf, which led him to miss the Adelaide game. But I'll touch on the extended ins currently. I'm filming this about 4:20. I think it comes out 5 or 6. So if you're watching this, you'll probably know what the selections are, but I'll probably make my kind of personal selections based on the extended squad. So I'll get straight into that now. Today there was the news that Alex Chincotta will play his first game for the Navy Blues and first game in the AFL. He's had a different path to footy, and it's just great news. Because he's 26 years old. He's worked pretty hard for it the last couple of years in the twos, and finally got on the AFL list this year. And with Sardi injured, Zach Williams obviously injured earlier in the year, and Doc, I think there was no better time to play him. Even last week, I think he should have played, but this week he's definitely playing off that half back, and it's good to see, because I think he plays a similar kind of role to, obviously Sard's one of a kind, but I think to a Doc or a Williams, gets a lot of the ball, drives it forward, and he's got good size about him, and he's a mature head. He's not 21 years old or 20 years old, so it'll be very, very interesting. The other ins for the extended squad, so they're not necessarily in, is Brodie Kemp, Lachie O'Brien, and Mitch McGovern. The Brodie Kemp inclusion to the extended squad, I think that's if touchwood Mitch McGovern doesn't get up for the game with his calf, but I believe he will. But I think Kempy's probably knocking down the door. I think he's been very, very good this season in the twos, and probably deserves another crack at it, and a bit of a longer crack at it. I think he's been in and out a few times, and he hasn't played this year, so it'll be good to see if he gets a game. But I think if Gov gets up, I think Kempy will have another game in the twos, or be the sub. And obviously with O'Brien, I think he'll be the sub again. I think he's definitely behind Akers and Hollands for now, and I think he'll be very, very quickly behind Jackson Binns, who's been phenomenal in the twos, and a lot of people were calling for him to come in, but I think we've just got to be patient with guys like that. He's a very young lad, and I'm sure he's looking very promising, which is good. And we'll look at the St Kilda side. Obviously, they've got Anthony Caminiti out with a suspension. It was a very interesting call, going from 4 weeks to 3 weeks, so it's a good result for them. But he'll obviously miss this weekend, and then obviously they're into Cooper Sham and Jack Steele's coming back from a few-week injury, and Tim Membry plays his first game. If you're a Carlton supporter, listen to this. He haunts us every year. I think every game. I think he averages like 3 goals a game against us. Unfortunately, he loves playing us, especially at Marvel. And then the last in's Tom Campbell, who was a kind of secondary ruck, but obviously they won't all be in. But for mine, I think it'll most likely be Steele and Membry. I think they're two pretty important players for them, and considering the top of the ladder and they haven't had those two playing often. Tim Membry hasn't played all year, and obviously he comes back this week, but they're two important pillars for them, and be very, very interesting who comes out for those players, and especially for Carlton as well. Once Gull comes in, I imagine Plowman comes out, so we start and Plowman missing with Guv and Chincotta or Sincotta, however you pronounce it, in. So that's it with the selections. Another good news is Adam Chera plays his 100th AFL game. I think he's played over 30 odd games or 25 games for Carlton. Obviously, his other games with the Fremantle Dockers, but I feel like Ches is building into the year very well. Still very young. I think he's 23 now, and he's playing some consistent footy, and hopefully himself and the mids lift this weekend, because we definitely need it through there. And getting first use for our forwards is very, very important for us to win, and it really is the key contributing factor for us to win the game. So I'll move on to the back line, who I thought were very, very poor last weekend, considering they've been very, very good all year. I think our back line's been standing up pretty well, but obviously young in Weeders, and I think the Saints, their tall forward stocks obviously let him down a bit. With the Caminiti out now as well, but then a massive in for them is Tim Membry. So we've never been able to pick him up. He's just been one of those guys who's always let off the leash. And then they've also got Cordy up forward, who is one of those players that sometimes against the Saints or a Bulldogs we always let kick goals. But Membry's the focus for mine as their key. I think we need if we can eliminate his impact. It is enormous. But for me, I think their most important factor up forward is their smalls and their impact they've been having the first 5 weeks, and who takes Jack Higgins and Mitch Owens, because I think they've been phenomenal. I think Higgins is in career best form, and Owens obviously is a young superstar who's he's shown his growth by the round. And I think we can take him. I think obviously Newman might take a Higgins. I think he's been good on the smalls of both sides. I thought he was great on Rankin last week, and then obviously a few weeks before he took Toby Green on and did very, very well in that. And then obviously you got Lockie Cowan, who can probably take an Owens as well, and maybe a Sincotta. But it's depending on the matchups and depending how they look at it. But if we can eliminate their impact and minimise, their shots on goal, it's going to be big. But I think they're pretty unpredictable, the Saints. You're not sure who's going to come up big each week, which I think is a positive, but also can be a negative for them. They don't really have two key pillars like we have up forward, but it's going to be very, very interesting, and it's going to be real tough to stop them. We're going to go through to the midfield battle. Obviously, Cripps, Walsh, Kennedy, Shearer, and Ed Curnow. And then with the Saints mids, you got Jack Steele, Brad Crouch, Seb Ross, and obviously you got Gresham and Owens going through there. I think Owens had 25 a few weeks ago running through there, which is enormous. But I think it's similar with the Saints. It's the same story. They've got a lot of pace. Obviously, Brad Hill pushing into there as well, with Wanganeen Malira, running through there. And they've got a lot of pace. Obviously, Jack Sinclair killed us last year off halfback. That's going to be a massive task for us as well, just being able to just not let them have that free roam around the ground, because that hurt us big time defensively last year. The same conversation is, do we tag? I don't think we tag initially this week, but the heat's on for our midfield. I think we're 13th or 14th in the comp for clearances, and that's just really, really bad, considering we kind of base our game off our stoppage work. We've found other ways to win games this year, but I'm not sure how long that can keep going, because it showed last week the dam wall busted, and obviously Adelaide put us to the sword last week, beating us by over 50 points. So we can't be letting that happen. It's going to be very, very important winning the ball from the source. I think we need a lift out of Cripps. I think we need a lift out of Kennedy Chera. I thought Chera's been good, but I think we've just been really struggling, and we've lacked a little bit of pace. And obviously you got Georgie Hewitt in there, who I think he's still recovering from his hand injury, but he just looks a little bit off from last year. So hopefully this week they bounce back. And I'll move on to the forward line. Harry and Charlie obviously take on the informed Wilkie, who's probably in All-Australian talks right now, and Dougal Howard, who's pretty serviceable, but it's going to be that is going to be massive, because I think if Harry and Charlie get off the leash, I think we win this game of football. I think we get enough inside 50s. It's just about our use going forward, which has been an issue. But I think if Harry and Charlie combine for A+, I think we can win the game of football. JSOS is a big talking point too. I think he just needs to stand up a little bit. He does a lot of things off the ball, and we love that about Jack. But I think with the ball, we need a little bit more. I think this weekend can be that game for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing how our smalls weigh up against their smalls. Because I feel like the Saints are always that barometer, always that, not benchmark, but they're always up there with how to play your smalls and how smalls play. Because I think a lot of their smalls most years play pretty well when they win. And I think Jesse Motlop and Corey Durden can really stack up well against their small defenders, and hopefully put some more scores on the board and putting pressure up inside our 50. So I'll move on to our match predictions, more my match predictions. I think best on ground is Mr. Marvel himself, Mr. Marvel Stadium himself, Charlie Curnow. I think he will have a big one this weekend. I think he's he keep going up and up in the Coleman race. I think he's get a challenge. Jeremy Cameron, who's in superb form, probably the best player in the competition as of right now. Point of difference, same as last week. I had Alex St Kilda as my point of difference. If he was selected, unfortunately he wasn't selected, which he probably should have been. But I think he will be my point of difference this week. I feel like he racks up a lot of the ball in the twos, and I think with better quality teammates around him on the ground, and especially at Marvel, fast pace, I think he can really benefit from that and put up a good performance. Winner and margin, like we say every week, we rarely tip against Carlton, but I think once again I'll be tipping us again. I think we have to bounce back. I'm going kind of biased. I'm not putting us by too much, but I think my tip will be by 4. It's going to be a close game. We love our close wins, Carlton, but I would not mind a percentage booster this weekend. Not saying it will happen. It's not going to be easy, but I wouldn't mind breaking open the wall and getting a comfortable victory. But it won't be very easy against the Saints, who have been very, very good this season. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. If you'd like the video, smash the like button. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're on Spotify if you want to listen on there, and also Apple Podcasts. I really hope we back it up this weekend, because the review won't be very fun, and it won't be fun reading all the Instagram comments on the Carlton pages if we do end up losing this game and putting a similar performance as we did against the Crows, which I don't think we will. I think it was a little bit of a kick up the backside for us. So if you enjoyed it, smash the like button, and as always, up the Baggers.